It's mostly always.
Last Thursday. But his name's Willie Saylor. He's in Easton, Pennsylvania. To my right, the wrestling nomad back from his homeland. To my left, celebrating a great victory from his homeland over the hometown team here in Austin, Texas. Let's everyone throw a horns down just to trigger Tom Herman. Right there. Horns down.
How do you do it?
Willie almost got it. Willie went I love you upside down. Not bad. So, Bracky was at the game, West Virginia, Texas. Crazy game. Congrats
Thank
to you.
It means a lot. It was the best football game I've ever been to. And what a day.
What a day.
Dana Holgerson is the greatest thing.
And what
ever.
a weekend.
Kyle, did you go on 6th Street afterwards? 6th Street's the famous
Yeah, we
street
did.
in Austin. How was it crazy?
It wasn't that crazy. I
Probably
think
because they lost.
Because of
no,
the tears.
seriously, because there was not a ton of people out, and there were a lot of West Virginia people out, and it was pretty fun.
Legit. So we got the first weekend in the books, but I don't want to start there because I don't know what it is or why now, but I have absolutely had it with this NCAA ban on the use of saunas. And I don't know why I had the epiphany. I had the epiphany, not that I've ever agreed with the blanket ban of the use of the sauna, but I'm sitting in the Wisconsin sauna, RTC members only. I was by myself, mind you. And I was like,
Well, coaches can go in.
yeah, but I was by myself.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, why this rule? What is it? And what is really the purpose of it? And so I'll state my thesis, then we'll talk a little bit about the weight control program, which I think you guys are going to find pretty interesting and how draconian some aspects of it are. But my thesis basically is that the banning of saunas from NCAA wrestling is a mistake that deprives athletes a valuable tool for health and recovery and is inconsistent based on other NCAA weight control rules. So you have to have a thesis statement, Nomad. You're
He literally
laughing.
has a thesis statement written down. I love it.
I have it, yeah, because I feel like I have to have that at the beginning. So now, before we get into this sauna, let's get into what the NCAA weight control program is. It bans a couple other things. It bans plastics. It bans diuretics, water pills, stuff like that. And I'll never advocate for those things. 'Cause I don't know where the health benefits are for wearing plastics or what the health benefits are for the water pill. That's basically all bad. The only good thing it'll make you lose weight, albeit in an unhealthy manner. But the other and the main aspect of the NCAA weight control program is this. You are allowed to lose 1.5% of your body weight per week, okay? And these weigh-ins are only monitored at the early certification, which determines your early weight class. And everyone who wrestles knows what this. You pee in the cup. It determines how hydrated you are. You weigh yourself. They determine your body fat, and boom, they plug it all in, and you get your lowest possible weight class. So that's one of the weigh-ins. And then every other weigh-in is just your competition stuff, right? And why do I bring up that the weight is only monitored from competition? Because the NCAA is like, well, guys are only losing 1.5% a week, and a 25-pounder that weighs 132 in October, he'll slowly work his way down to 125 by the time November.
Get with reality.
Yeah. By the time November 1st rolls around, and then we can say, hey, they're only losing 1.5% per week. When I'm talking to D1 coaches all over the place, and I'm not going to name any names, but they live in what's called the real world NCAA, and they have rules like an 8-pound rule or a 5% rule, or that guys are only allowed to get up so high and they can come back down. So the idea that, all right, let's just take 25, let's say Nick Piccinini, and he's a smaller 25, but even this I think is a reality. He makes, on Friday he weighs 125.0, and then on Sunday he makes 125.0. The idea that he is like flat, or that any wrestler is flat across that and not bouncing up to at minimum 128, 129, probably by the time they're wrestling that first match. But on Saturday, these guys are probably 135, 140, some of them. Okay, so the NCAA is not even accomplishing what they want to accomplish, okay? But what they're doing and why it's inconsistent is they're trusting the coaches and the trainers to monitor what they're doing, right? To educate the athletes on how to properly cut weight, to ensure that they're not doing rapid dehydration, they're not doing rapid weight loss, that they're doing it the right way. So they're trusting them, right? And they're educating them about their body, how to properly hydrate, how to properly eat, how to cut your weight in the right way, right? There's that trust there. Yet for whatever reason, that same trust is not applied to the use of a sauna, right? Which has tons of health benefits, right? Everyone knows, I mean, I'm kind of preaching to the choir here because all wrestlers basically know this, but saunas, they help you with recovery. They help with your immune system. They help with flexibility. They're great for your heart. There's just studies and studies and studies on the benefits of sauna use. And because in 1997, and I'm not saying that between 1997 and now, the sauna has not been used to cut and lose weight in sometimes unhealthy ways. But the idea that, well, this happened then, so we just have to have a blanket ban on something that is good for the athlete, it makes no sense whatsoever. And the fact that there's no wiggle room, and it has a harsh penalty. You could punch someone in the face in the middle of a wrestling match, and you will have a much more lax penalty than if you use the sauna one time and get caught. It's 8 competitions out, and the second time it's a year. Right? So it's insanely punitive for something that's good. And to me, the NCAA, the 1.5% rule, I mean, it's such a joke, right? That a 97-pounder can only get up to 200 pounds and then come back down to 197. That's just not in reality, right? So the NCAA is either completely naive about how weight loss actually works in wrestling, which is probably some of it, or 2, they're trusting the coaches to help them monitor the weight loss.
Well, you
right?
understand the significance of 1997, right?
Of course, and you know, I want to get to 97, and let's talk about the factors that led to those guys' deaths, and let's talk about misuse of anything, right? Now, for there were 3 deaths, right? One of them was named Billy Saylor, which, that sounds like Willie, but it's not. He died of cardiac arrest on an exercise bike, refusing liquids. Okay, he was 19. The other guy riding a stationary bike in a rubber suit in a hot shower. Okay, and the other guy, rubber suit in a room heated 92 degrees and working out. So all these guys, there's a lot of things going on here that led to these deaths. They're wearing plastics. They're not eating. They're dehydrated. They're in a sauna. Or not a sauna. In some of these, it's unclear if they were even using a sauna. They're using creatine, which is incredibly dangerous if you're cutting weight. But for whatever reason, they got honed in on the sauna. Now, anything, and here's one of my main issues with it. Anything, basically in life, can be misused. Because you misuse a sauna, does not mean you should ban a sauna any more than if someone puts too much weight on a squat rack and has bad form and jacks their back up in a really serious way, doesn't mean we should get rid of squat machines.
Aspirin can be misused
Aspirin.
very easily.
And there's nothing in the NCAA rules about water deprivation, right? There's nothing in NCAA rules that talking about, wearing excessive sweats. There's nothing in NCAA rules about going a whole day without eating, which to me, water deprivation and going an entire day without eating is far more dangerous than the use of a sauna. And here's the other thing. Here's the other case. Not only is it inconsistent in that way, but here's what you're saying. No, even though we have a sauna in our wrestling locker room, you can't use it, okay? Well, fine, but I really want to use a sauna. And instead of having it used in a controlled environment where coaches and trainers can monitor, there's no mechanism in place to stop someone from getting a membership to a 24-hour fitness, to going on Amazon.com and ordering those plastics and going and doing it the wrong way outside of that supervision, okay? Where coaches can't monitor it, where you're off your own health club, or you're making the janky shower in your dorm room, heating that up, which that's happening all the time, right? Potentially, and it's totally outside of the coach's control. They can't do anything. Or you could educate the guys about healthy weight loss, about how a sauna can help you, about the way you're supposed to use a sauna. But instead, it's this just blanket, unthoughtful ban on something that can be an asset to athletes. I had an NCAA champion of which there are many, so you're not going to know who. But he DM'd me after I sent the tweet that I'm talking about this. He said, the sauna is the best. Keeps me from getting sore after workouts in the spring and summer. Not being able to use it in the season is the absolute worst, right? These are the athletes that are world class, right? And they're saying, this is good for me. This helps. This helps with my recovery. And the fact that, things like that it can be misused, therefore it's gone, is nonsensical to me. And it's really painting is really broad stroke reaction from the NCAA. And I think there's room for nuance and education, just like there's room for nuance and education on the rapid weight loss that could potentially still be happening. There's nothing.
We lived in a different world in 1997.
Oh my goodness, yes, Willie.
I mean, at that time, weight cutting was super extreme. There would be guys packed in 15 guys packed in a sauna and full of plastics. People would not eat. They'd starve themselves, and they'd do anything to cut weight. And cutting weight was, massive amounts. In the college season now, I think guys are a little bit more educated. Certainly the coaches are keen to that. And I don't know, maybe at one time the drastic measures were needed. I don't see how it would be abused today. I don't think it would be abused today. I don't think guys cut as much weight today.
Yeah, I think for sure they don't. I think the NCAA's put in, things that make it tougher to cut weight, right? And ultimately, I think it falls on the coaches. Heavy is the crown, right? If you're the coach or trainer, it's up to you to know what weight your guy is going to compete at best. Don't just try to suck him down to a weight because it makes your lineup better, right? And monitor the situation. Make sure these guys don't get up. Most of them have an 8-pound rule that they think is, a safe distance, striking distance to come down. And it's so silly, right? Like, think about it. If we all did a wrestling practice right now, 2-3 hour practice in t-shirt and shorts, we would drop 3-4 pounds, if probably at a minimum, right? No problem, which is well outside the 1.5%, which is why the entire rule is inconsistent and nonsensical, right? It's like not in reality at all of the sport, okay? So the NCAA, I think there's room for some changes here. I think there's a lot of holes to be poked in the weight control program that doesn't make sense, but we don't ban cars because they're dangerous, right? We educate. Same with guns. Same with anything really in life. And the fact that a sauna, which can be so good for athletes, which I feel has helped me a lot in terms of how I feel. It helps with my endurance. Helps with a lot of different things, right? It's just disappointing to me that this is the conclusion they've reached.
Well, that's like you're saying, right? Anything can be misused, but when you look at 20 years down the line and you're talking about, studies about the benefits of the sauna, so any argument can be made either way. Like, okay, this thing is bad, we need to ban it. And then there's also, well, we're not going to be able to stop people from doing this, so it shouldn't be illegal, right? Which, there's always a healthy medium in there. But to Willie's point, not only are guys cutting weight less or doing it a lot smarter, they're eating better, right? They're taking every advantage, and now instead of it becoming just how low can I possibly get everything's a weight cutting contest, how low can I possibly get? It's now how can I be my optimized self? And for a lot of guys, your optimized self means spending a little bit of time in the sauna over the course of a week.
Yeah, especially the grind that is college wrestling and the need for recovery. I mean, what the benefits of a sauna are just what the doctor ordered for these guys, and they can't do it.
Well, that's the thing, too. And I don't know how you can legislate this, but I don't think it should be legislated out in the first place. But I think if you're going to use a sauna and you're going to make a case for the sauna, your case for the sauna is not even anything related. I would not just on the books and not just my pitch to the NCAA, but in practical use, what I would tell my guys, what I would have happen in my room, is they wouldn't use the sauna to cut weight. They would use the sauna for recovery purposes.
Precisely.
I mean,
yes.
You don't use it you don't use it for weight loss on a daily basis because it makes no sense. I mean, that's what I'm saying. 20 years ago too, I don't know if they knew that, right?
No.
Everybody knows now. Having the water out of your body for the shortest amount of time is the way to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I have a lot of energy for this, and maybe it'll spark some conversation. I sent an Instagram post about this straight from there, and about how just I thought the rule was bad, and some coaches reached out and support. And Tom Ryan says he'd like to talk about it, and I'd love to talk about it with Coach Ryan. And I will say this, Willie, that while we feel like 97 was long ago and we've come a long way, I do know there was an incident at Big Ten's, not last year but the year before, where there was a pretty serious situation where, plastic, sauna, etc., were being misused. And yes, with misuse, anything can be dangerous, and as well as a sauna. So I know that this happened at Big Tens. I know that is maybe part of why there was an increased emphasis about the sauna. But I don't think that happens if the coach is able to monitor the entire thing. Because it probably happened completely outside of the coach's knowledge. I'm hoping it happened outside the coach's knowledge, right?
Well, I mean, it's like anything, right? If there's a situation with a university, with a program that's misusing the sauna, let's say in a world that the sauna is legal, and something happens, then they get a sanction for a year or two. I mean, let's not put everybody else on lockdown because something might happen.
I also think, and maybe college coaches disagree with me on this, but sometimes in Big Tens is a little different, obviously, because it's the last competition of the year, basically. If a guy can't make weight for a duel, they don't wrestle. Like, if it's going to be that detrimental to their health that they're, like, going to go into crisis mode and, okay, I got to get my plastics on and put an air dye in the sauna, you have to have the wherewithal, again, getting back to the heavy is the crown of the coach. Like, hey, look, I don't care if this is going to hurt the team or whatever, or hurt your seed, but, like, you cannot wrestle today. You are not in a healthy place to wrestle. And again, it's a little different at Big Tens, but yeah, the whole thing revolves around education, coaches being smart, athletes being smart, and also these are freaking adults now. These are guys who can vote and buy guns and and go serve in the army. Like, these are adults. We're not talking about high school kids, and the high school rules are similar too with the 1.5% rule. And it's good that they're getting guys in the mindset of cutting weight in a healthy way in high school. But these are adults, and they're coached by adults, and there's a lot of knowledge now, because when we're talking about Division I wrestlers, we're talking about, let's see, 2,000 guys, like the most elite 2,000 guys. I don't even know if that number's right. But anyway, the most elite whatever number in the country with the most elite minds in the country to handle them. So, yes, saunas can be bad. We all know that. Don't use them to cut weight.
Please. Okay. Sorry about the sauna.
No, I think it's an important topic, though.
I do too. I don't know if there's any opportunity. I don't know if there's any wiggle room. I feel like the NCAA is definitely in CYA mode here. They're not going to be anything. You don't want to take a step back in the court of public opinion, then something happens in the sauna and they then be liable. But I think there's a case for common sense to prevail here, and the idea that I can weigh 125.0 on Friday, shoot up to 140 on Saturday, and make 125.0 on Sunday, and be within the rules of what the NCAA weight control program shows that the program is not rooted in reality, because that is a 100% reality that can happen within NCAA wrestling that is outlined by their rules, because they don't monitor how much these kids are yo-yoing up and down. All they know is what they weigh at the scale on competition day. So
there's also
well, even the back-to-back weigh-ins.
Oh yeah,
like NCAA's, Big Ten's, Midland scuffle. Those guys shoot up. That's why they're cutting weight till like midnight.
Yes,
2:00 in the morning.
There's also like you talked about earlier with the, if we went through a practice, just like losing weight. There's also like, you just have weight that goes on and comes off that's mostly water.
Yeah, that's why it's like not in reality. The 1.5%, man. These NCAA guys, if they worked out, if they exercised, they would know 1.5% is so silly.
You could very healthily lose 8 pounds in a day, and it's like just water.
Yeah. I was texting with a coach back and forth. Very good coach. He's like, yeah, we have guys that and they have this particular school has a 1-layer rule. You can only wear like shorts and a t-shirt, long sleeve, no sweats, right, except for like one practice. And he's like, we have guys that lose 8 to 10 pounds in a practice, 49-pounders, right? They're working hard. Wrestling is insane. It's so hard.
And they're drinking a gallon of water a day.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're coming in hydrated. They lose weight. So there's a lot going on there. I think that's it. Willie, any parting sauna thoughts?
No, I mean, in '97, 3 kids died, and they, the NCAA looked at the coaches, and they had to make some changes, right? They looked at the NWCA, they had to make changes, and different mindset. They were more Neanderthalish, and there was probably, they're less educated and less, I don't know. And saunas probably were being misused at the time. But I think, to put a period on it, I think the time has come to revisit it.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks. Okay, cool. Let's start. Well, I want to start with Wisconsin because that's where the season started.
That's where you were.
And it's where I was. It
Actually
technically started in West Virginia.
Thank you.
Got to respect the Dub V, horns down. So it started there, but then it really started in Wisconsin Buffalo. And man, I think we knew when you circle this match, you see Wisconsin Buffalo. It's not like, well, this is a super sexy matchup, but we knew Buffalo. Anyone that watches wrestling knows Buffalo is scrappy every single year. They are just tough, dog tough every time. Go, Coach Stutzman, you're the man. And so I knew this is going to be a fight. And it was going to be tough. And so I was so excited to be there. Hanging around the Wisconsin guys was a lot of fun. Got to watch kind of how they train and really good energy around that room. And calling the match with Ben was great. But I don't know if people realize this match really could have went Buffalo's way if a couple little things happened. That Akins-Brown match, that's a 9-point swing there. Akins is controlling that match from his feet. Connor couldn't ride him, right? And then, one move, that goes from 6 to Wisconsin, when it could have been 3 for Buffalo. 285 was definitely in the balance. And then, we're talking about, that's like a 15-point swing right there. And that may have been enough in of itself. So I think it gets lost a little bit because it kind of got away from Buffalo towards the end. That really could have been a very different duel. And it could have really played spoiler to Wisconsin's home opener.
The Hilger-Gunning match.
Yeah.
I mean, that probably was 2 for Gunning, right?
I'm blown away. I mean, I'm sitting next to Ben, who is definitely a homer and wants Wisconsin to win, and he's like, I don't think it's 2. I'm like, it was like a Crazy Pills kind of moment for me.
I was looking at maybe Ben in the heat of the moment was doing what I did when I watched it at first. I was looking hip and ankle. And it wasn't hip and ankle; it was hip and hip.
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's behind the hip. He was basically not exactly rear standing, but he was behind both legs. The hand touched. And now that takedown doesn't. I don't even know if that. I think Gunning would have had to ride out there for the win potentially.
You know what's insane?
Tell me.
First match of the year. Mm-hmm. Jake Gunning has a call go against him, and he loses. First duel of the year last year. Gunning doesn't get a call and he loses.
Yeah,
the Stoll match last year, yeah.
And I think both.
It was stolen from him.
Oh. Wow.
Good shot, Nomad.
Good shot by Nomad there. So I think I thought it was 2. That doesn't mean Gunning would have won. I think it maybe would have tied it, but yeah, I think that was 2. So that was an interesting call. Other interesting moments in officiating was Lantry Moran and the hands to the face stuff, which basically kept Moran in the match for a while. I think he had 2 to 3 points, all from hands to the face stuff.
And I saw it twice in Ohio State, too.
And the interesting application there, this was like 3 times in a match. The interesting application there, and I think this is going to be a bigger topic for at least the first couple weeks until the officials kind of get synced up here.
Until they stop calling it?
Until they basically stop calling it. Is when Lantry was on top.
That was unreal.
And kind of reached. I mean, yeah, he covered the face, but it's like, man, I've coached that. I've seen that. It's like not a big deal. But he gave up the point there too, and then my mind really started to go crazy. I'm like, man, I only thought about this from the neutral application, and so seeing it from top and bottom, and then where does a crossface fit in here? I mean, that is right here.
That is hands to the
That's
face.
literally how you right here, this
Yeah.
bone, right in the nose.
Somebody told me they weren't supposed to call it from top and bottom.
Well, they did.
They definitely
Well,
did.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That was
Well,
that was
who
incorrect.
told you that? A ref, a coach, or
Now I got to think. It wasn't a ref.
it was your dad, wasn't it?
No, it was. Who was it? I don't know.
So listen, people are freaking out about this, and for good reason. And I mean, to the extent that there's NCAA coaches aren't even being shy about it; they're tweeting it. This hands to the face stuff is terrible, and this and that. And so Mark Branch did it, and I said, Coach Branch, aren't you on the rules committee, or who's on the rules committee this year? And he said, no, I'm not on the rules committee anymore, Willie, but this isn't a new rule.
Right.
What it is, it's been in the rule book for years, but what it is before the season, the referees have a meeting and they said, all right, this year a point of emphasis is hands to the face.
Yep.
Well, they've
And
emphasized it.
so they have this meeting and they're like, hey, pay attention to this and call it. And so now you see all this stuff happening. And it's just like last week at Super 32 when they had a meeting, point of emphasis for edge stalling. If they continue to look at it and be that anal about it all the time, it's going to lose the spirit of the rule.
Right.
The spirit of the rule is we don't want guys just mashing in the face. And reality is sometimes on accident your hand hits the face. Sometimes you're post on the head. Sometimes you're going for the club. Call it when it's appropriate. Don't go out there and look and say, I'm calling this. If it touches, I'm calling it.
Yeah. It's going to be dicey for a little bit. And, I think there was some crazy edge stuff. I feel like every year there's kind of a thing where like, oh my gosh, that's how they're calling it. And then by the time second semester rolls around, they kind of get it under control. So I'm hoping this will be that kind of a situation. I don't know what prompted the now's the time to emphasize it. It's like, hey, St. John and Zane Rutherford are now graduated, so now we're going to implement this rule. Two of the most infamous. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me.
To me,
Name a guy currently in college that is really bad, does it all the time.
Apparently Brian Lantry. I didn't know until
what Illinois kid got disqualified for it?
I think no, not Barone.
It was
somebody from Illinois got DQ'd.
Yeah, whoever was wrestling Leith was disqualified.
Oh yeah, he got DQ'd. Now, hey, breaking news! Just got a text from a Big Ten head coach. I have had two officials tell me I have to call hands to the face, or they will take duels away from me. They aren't going to stop calling it.
Oh, good
boy.
job. NCAA leadership, NCAA officials leadership. That's stupid.
I really think by December 1 we will see them call this less and less.
Yeah.
Well, to your point about things getting ironed out, part of it's early season, right? And part of it is coaches and athletes adapting to the rule, which I don't know. I think in any sport, wrestling does the best of trying to manipulate rules and try to figure out how to use them to your advantage. And I'm like team captain of there's no such thing as gaming rules. You either follow them or you don't. And wrestling is really good at figuring out what is the rule. Okay, here's the line. We're going to be right here. But I also think the early part of the season, there's such a volume of matches because there's so many opens. There's so many guys who are new to college, so many guys changing weight, so many different moving parts, and probably a lot of new refs as well, refs who haven't called matches, since last March. So when you combine all those things and then you have a new point of emphasis and then everybody's watching because, okay, it's the first weekend of the season, we got to get our college wrestling fix in, then everyone starts blowing up.
I don't know if it's that. I think there's a problem. I think there's a problem when officials have a meeting and say, hey, watch for this. This is a point of emphasis. You're calling this. Make sure you call it.
Why does there have to be a point of emphasis? Just call the match.
Officials call things that aren't. That's not what that is.
Yeah. I just never viewed it as a big problem. And one of the things that does bother me is how punitive it is. A point, let's call it what it is. A point is a takedown. 1 point is a takedown. That is such a tremendous penalty. I mean, I think it's too much. I think there should be a warning. I think if you're going to make it a point of emphasis, you should adjust the rule somewhat. It should have a warning. I wouldn't mind. Listen, if you go once, you get a warning, and you do it again, incidentally or not, you know what? You kind of get what you get. That's why I honestly don't have that much sympathy for the Illinois kid that got DQ'd. If wrestling is all about making in-match adjustments, if you can't stop your hands from going in the man's face after he must have done it 4 times, because I think it's 4 to
got
get
called 4 times.
Yeah. So if you do it 4 times, I don't know. I'm just not that sympathetic there. I'm sympathetic to the guy in an 8-8 barn burner that goes hands to the face in the NCAA quarters 1 time and loses 9-8. That's where my sympathy is going to lie, because it's not. I mean, ultimately, what do we want in a wrestling match? We want the skills to be rewarded, right? There's no skill in getting your face touched by someone else's hand. I don't want that to determine winners. There's skill in so many things that's rewarded in wrestling. There's no skill involved here, right? And it's not brutal. It's not taking a knee out. It's not doing a Kimura, right? It's hands to the face. And to me, in wrestling, you know, it's the most brutal physical sport maybe there is, right? And that's just, you're just going to have, it's going to be a byproduct of something that's a fight with rules. You're going to get some hands in the face.
Yeah. Hopefully they're just, hey, make it a point of emphasis. Maybe we're talking about exactly what they want us to talk about. They scare the crap out of everybody, and by December it's gone.
Yeah, and maybe, you know what? Maybe that's the byproduct. How about this? Maybe it's not that it's going to get called differently, but maybe NCAA-wide they're going to adjust. Zane Rutherford adjusted in international. He stopped going hands to the face quite as much. So maybe all these coaches are seeing this. They're like, and they're going to get real militant about it in the practice room and make sure, and then maybe they're just going to eliminate it, and maybe the NCAA just eliminated a problem and they're the actual geniuses after all.
There is to your point about like warnings and stuff. So I'm rewatching because it happened to Caleb Romero against Tanner Schedule, and it nearly cost him a match. But as I'm rewatching it, he does it like twice in a row. Like he touches a guy, and then you see the ref kind of like zone in, and then he touches him again, and then you see him, and then you see both refs at like the side ref too, or associate ref, whatever it's called. At the same time, we're like, okay, dude, you hit him in the face 3 times with your hand. You can't do that. So I do agree there probably should be a warning, but you can have discretion as a ref to be like, okay, I'm watching you now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. The referees have to have discretion. Like, if you say the point of emphasis is no hands to the face, if you say the point of emphasis is edge stalling, you still have discretion to know if that's stalling or not.
Right. So, okay, on the good note, we got to talk about Johnny Quickstall. He was the hero of the Wisconsin-Buffalo duel. He was calling stalling like crazy. I loved it. His name is Jason Wedgbury, according to Jake Angich. He's from Iowa, and he's always been a great ref, and I believe it.
Wedgbury?
Wedgbury, yes. So shout out to him, but his name is not that anymore. He has to legally change it to Johnny Quickstall.
That's a name, boy.
That's a great name.
I want to keep it.
So if you see Johnny Quickstall, a.k.a. he may answer to Jason, just don't call him that. You thank him. Just shake his hand and thank him for his service to college wrestling. He's saving it. And it just takes one man to be the change. So thanks for calling stalling. It's going to make wrestling happen. And
hey, how good did wrap up Buffalo? How good did Alex Smythe look?
Oh my gosh. A coach texted me. I tweeted about it. Like, this guy is going to be problems this year. And I don't think Wick is all the way back or whatever. He's got a road still with the injury he had. It sounds like a thing. But man, just in the deed, how that guy looked. Oh my gosh, he is so quick to the leg. He can. And I was like, he's big for the weight. I was like, how's he going to do our way in? He looked big. Man, he comes hard for 7 minutes. That's one match, small sample size, and this guy's D1 results are basically bad. They're bad. It's not even like he's a fifth year, right? He's been in the mix. Last year he was like 500-ish, maybe.
His career record is 49-46, and he was 13-11 last year.
13
What
never
happened?
Qualified for NCAA's.
How does
No.
that even happen?
What happened?
That's what I was gonna say. How, like, we talk about all you. I forget who I was saying, like, oh, if you can clean this up on the mat, and you're like, well, how often do we see guys do that in their 4th or 5th year? Exactly. How often do we see
So
guys
rare.
make an actual jump in their 5th year?
Well, I think it happens to guys that are maybe not the most talented coming out, but they go to a place with a system and a good coach, and they stick to the plan. And I think that's a little bit what you've had with Alex. You're talking with Coach Stutzman. You know, he's had his ups and downs and his adversity he's had to deal with, but man, he's putting it all together now, and he's got a skill set that is he knows how he's going to win matches, right? Really good reattacks, quick single legs, hard hand fighting, and knowing just your identity. Maybe that's part of it too. You figure out kind of how am I going to win matches here.
Trusting your game plan going in, like you were saying, knowing how to win matches. Like, okay, if I do X, Y, Z, I trust that I can beat 90% of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, and also don't do A, B, and C.
Right, stay away from where you're weak. Stay away from where you're vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah. So man, what can you say? I thought he looked great. And you know, Coach Stutzman told me it's just cool talking to him. He's so fired up. He's like, man, he's just kind of got that perpetual chip, which is like perfect for the program. He had it at Bloomsburg, had it at Buffalo. It's like they're not the big powers, and they just kind of carry that. And he carries it, and he's like, we're better than people. We're better than people think.
Hey, they really are.
They really are. They're really good.
First of all, Stutzman's awesome. I think a lot of people know that inside the sport, but he's right. Up and down the lineup, those guys can wrestle, and you know what? They don't do it. You often think like, okay, a good coach will go to a school, and he's definitely going to make the lineup improve because he's a great coach. And then they'll get some recruits in, and then they'll really be cooking with grease, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Stutzman raised the level of all the guys in his lineup, but he still hasn't. They still don't get great recruits, and still they're a tough out. All their guys are a tough out.
Yeah. And that's why you see teams like Penn State bring them in. That's why you see Wisconsin schedule. They want their guys to get that kind of a scrap. It's like, yeah, hey, we don't want to go against an Iowa necessarily, and really, but man, we want some guys that are going to fight us, and that's why I think teams want to wrestle Buffalo, and yet they probably kind of don't. But it's like it's good for their guys.
Right. It's when you're in the first round, you're a top 5 seed. You might, even now with the new seeding everybody, you still might catch one of those dudes who's just, God dang it, I got to wrestle this dude for 7 minutes.
Yeah, he's just pains in the neck.
Yeah.
So great duel, had a lot of fun. I think Wisconsin's got a lot of promise, but they're not all the way there yet. I
How
don't think.
awesome was that first match? Just like back and forth, back and forth.
It was great.
Boom, Connor Brown pin, and then parties.
He partied, man. That celebration. I think Bono said he's like, that was terrible. Like he's like, it was awful. He's like, we need to grab him or something.
I just love that the kid seems so excited because I pulled up the stupid golf hockey swing he did last year. The kid seems so excited after some matches that he's like, I don't even know what I want to do. I just want to do something.
It was like he started the dance, and then he was like, oh, wait a minute, I planned on doing this. And then he like did the
Right.
LeBron.
And he
then
flagged.
Well, here's the thing, though. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never been to a Wisconsin duel, but I read their forum, and it's like that was like the best environment at a Wisconsin duel ever.
It was. I was like, I've never been to a Wisconsin duel in my life, obviously, and I didn't even hear the final attendance there. But that place was loud, super knowledgeable. It's like the community was just like looking for something to get super excited about.
Okay, but that's Bono's first duel. I mean,
I know.
Davis was there for a million years, and there was cricket. You could hear the electric in the building.
I know.
Culture change.
Yeah, culture and Bono's always made an emphasis around like the environment. He shot for that at Frost.
I know.
At
I
SDSU.
mean, to me, it's just like a really real thing. Is that he engenders passion, and he's obviously going out and working and saying,
Exactly.
People are gonna come here.
He knows how to market a program, and he knows how to work with his athletic department to market a program in a duel.
Well, even like when we were there for the Final X road trip, and we ran into some coaches at whatever restaurant we went to, they're like, "Yeah, Bono comes out, talks to these coaches all the time. We have, whether it's clinics or whether just a booster or just go into practices and be like, hey, we need you guys to come to Badgers duels this year and be fans." I mean, I was talking to some guy who he's a Hawkeye fan, but he lives like 45 minutes from Madison, and he's like, "Yeah, I bought Wisconsin season tickets this year."
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, what? How do you do that?
I don't know. The dude's relentless. I mean, Reader and Bono are just relentless dudes. I mean, McDonough is too, but like that's like the duo right now, and man, just like endless energy, and they're in lockstep. So
The last thing, and I was talking to Bracky about this when I came in. All I want is for all whatever number of Division I programs there are in 10, 15 years to have season tickets, to have a baseline number of fans at a duel, and coaches that care. Then the team trophies, the 80 All-Americans, the 10 champs, that'll figure itself out. If we just have every program with a coach that cares and a fan base that will show up, college wrestling will be a good place, and the rest of it will take care of itself.
yeah, you're right, and that's that's the role of the head coach. That's the role of the staff. I mean, maybe it shouldn't be, but you just got to get out there and work to make that happen. And it's really just work. Right? If you work, you can have that. Okay, so that was Wisconsin. There's so many other things with Wisconsin I could talk about. Really loved Wisconsin. It was awesome. Thanks to Bono and company for letting me kind of hang around there for 2 days.
Did you have a spotted cow?
No, I didn't do. You know where? I didn't eat any Wisconsin fare. I ate at Chipotle, and yeah,
You didn't have any cheese curds?
nothing. I didn't do anything.
You really messed up.
I literally I was just in the room the whole time. I would be there till I was there late both nights and just picked up something on the way home. I don't know.
Do we want to talk about the number 2 team in the country? Number 3?
Who's that?
Ohio State Buckeyes?
Well, they're not number 2 or 3.
What are they? Did they drop?
Well, I hope not number 2 or 3.
I'm sure they started preseason rankings as 2.
Yeah.
Dang it! Really?
They got a whole bunch of guys ranked 1 and 2.
Ohio State?
Yeah.
They
You're
should.
literally second
Crap.
by 8
They're not
points.
finishing top 2.
Okay, they might not, but right now they currently are.
What have I done? All right, let's talk about it.
We don't have to, but it's just,
let's talk about it.
They didn't look good.
I completely
didn't-
agree. They
I
did
didn't
not look
think-
good. Micah did, but
Micah did.
yeah, I Keyshawn, I was disappointed. I know he's up basically 2 weights, so maybe I don't know what to say. But I've always been kind of a Keyshawn guy. Tishan, I didn't think looked particularly good. Heavyweight's going to be an issue this year.
T-Shan's T-Shan. Like, that's what you're
I
going
know.
to get every single match.
I know. I think it is one of those things though, where sometimes we'll say, all right, this guy was at this program, it wasn't going great, but you drop him into this program, and then we're gonna see basically the same guy.
We thought that
Well,
last
I-
year, and then he majored Valencia, and we're like, yep,
Yep.
here we go. And
It
then
happened.
nothing.
Then
I even thought that when he was at Pitt. Like, I was like, okay, I think it was his first or second match ever against Lehigh. And I'm like, you know what? He's a raw kid. Wasn't from the greatest high school program. He's solid. Give him a year or two. He's going to be legit. And just never happened.
Yeah,
he is who he is.
yeah, I feel that. Caleb Romero didn't blow me away. I mean, Miles looked good. 25. I don't think Bracken's gonna be their dude. And Tom Ryan.
You think Heinzelman's going to be put in?
so
I don't see why not.
when I
Heinzelman tore it up at Michigan State Open for what it's worth.
so when I talked to Tom Ryan afterwards, he made it very clear that the lineup's not set, and he brought up Heinzelman. Now, he won the freshman division, which
Right.
I'm not knocking it because basically every kid who's a true freshman wrestles in the freshman division their first time out, so that's normal. But he made it clear 125 and heavyweight aren't set, which is kind
Well,
of
why? I don't get that though.
well, it's unusual though for Ohio State because if they're gonna normally if they're rolling out a true freshman,
No.
They just do it
what
right
I'm
away.
saying is, I get Heinzelman. I get Heinzelman wrestling freshman, sophomore. I think Heinzelman should go. I think Heinzelman's going to be fine.
Yeah.
what I don't understand, and Tom Ryan knows more wrestling than I do. I don't understand why Singletary wrestled in the freshman sophomore division.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't
either.
get why Heinzman did either. If you think that he could possibly be the guy for you, why not put him out there? I
don't know. It's his first college tournament ever.
The dude has been wrestling college guys for in freestyle for a while now. And hey, listen, let's not paint the MSU Open as Cliff Keen Las Vegas, right? The Open division. It's How competitive was that? I mean, none of these opens are like
Rayvon Foley, Drew Matten final. He could have absolutely been in the mix with both of those guys.
Yeah, you could really see where he's at with those guys. He's not going to get Malik's not getting demoralized by those guys, right? Like he may lose to both of them for all I know, but
I don't.
He can go with them.
He may lose to both of them, but he could beat one of them.
Right.
I also, so I was there all day Saturday, right, and I got to see Ohio State get ready, and I got to see Navy get ready. I don't want to say Ohio State didn't take this duel seriously because that makes it sound like the coaches were being lackadaisical. But I think they were very aware that, like, this is a November 3rd duel. We don't need to be running on all cylinders. Now, obviously, they weren't necessarily happy with the way their guys wrestled, but I think it was kind of Navy was way more amped up for this and wanted to make a statement. And, look, Tom Ryan, he mentioned this in his post-match interview. He was teammates with Joel Sherritt, right? Like, those guys go way back, and Tom Ryan was expecting this to be a Navy didn't shoot, okay? They did a lot of hanging, they did a lot of hand fighting, they did a lot of pulling guys into front head, and they got a couple penalty points. But what Tom Ryan was also really happy with was when a lot of times, minus the 25 match, when they needed points, they went out and got them in the third period, right? Caleb Romero got a late score. Trout got a late score. Joey McKenna rode out the third period. And again, look, Nick Gill's very good, right? And Joey had to make weight twice in less than 22 hours.
Yeah, McKenna's one. I don't really factor that in because what he did is insane. Yep. And Nick Gill is really tough, and that is a just get your hand raised situation.
Right.
So I don't even lump him in. I throw him kind of out, especially considering he smashed Cade Brock the night before.
Yeah,
nothing to worry about with Joey McKenna.
And even with Hayes, right? I mean, looking at Hayes.
Hayes was the one that was. But to me, disappointing because he didn't look good early. Even though he came back and won, Prince had no defense. I thought Keyshawn scored really easily. I thought he was breathing heavy at the end. I'm concerned about Keyshawn.
Yeah, so we'll see, but. Ohio State moves on. Rutgers, not a ton to discuss other than Soriano at 33 for now. And will he come down? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Why? What do you come down for? He can win 33. It's harder, but he can win. But maybe it's not harder because Spencer Lee could just be like unreachable. We don't actually know if it's harder.
It's harder in the sense that there are more guys who can win, and there's a close cluster of very high level guys, and like your quarterfinal is going to be tougher, right? But is it harder in the sense that is it harder to beat Spencer Lee? Is it harder to beat Seth Gross, who's number one guy at each weight?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably, maybe harder to beat. It's probably harder to beat Spencer. IMO. Okay, Missouri, Illinois. Carr Ironman was apparently crazy. I'm really bummed I missed it, but apparently Ironman had to dig deep to beat Mike Carr, and one, Mike Carr's really tough, beat Nick Lee last year, right? But two, Ironman does this, right? From time to time, it's like he'll get in a little bit of trouble, but he figures it out. I forget who it was last year.
It was an SIUE duel.
It was like a total rando.
Let me find the score.
I can't even remember that guy's
name.
name.
18-16?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was like,
Ironman to me is a very interesting baseline for 141 in terms of, like, if you get destroyed by Jaden, you're not going to be there with Joey McKenna and Yanni right at the end of the year. But if you can kind of hang with him, it kind of, to me, it says something about where you're at in that pecking order, because I think Ironman can be figured out. I think he's a pain to figure out, but I think he can be figured out, and he is so goofy that if you allow yourself to kind of.
I don't know. I think people have hung with him before. I think hanging with him doesn't mean anything. Dakota Leach is ranked number 200 on WrestleStat, and it was 17-15. I don't think that's indicative. I think the guy just has
ranked number 200.
I think this guy just has matches where it's just like I don't know. He's crazy. He does crazy, awesome stuff, and it's just like it's a little. Dylan Ness in his first 2 years, it was just like, dude, what is he?
Is there maybe any correlation with like a bad weight cut maybe too?
That's possible.
No, I think it's Jaden being Jaden.
I agree.
I think he's going to have those matches.
I don't think it's. I think if it was a bad weight cut, he would have a big lead and like meltdown. He wouldn't have to like storm back and do these theatrics.
Yeah, he was losing.
Yeah,
now,
that's a good point.
Some people. He was losing 9-4 going to the third period. Now,
Golly.
some people will tell you that there was 2 questionable takedowns for Carr. Maybe that's debatable, but okay, take the 2 takedowns away. Carr's leading, I don't know, 5-2. All right, it's 5-3. So and then Carr didn't have good defense. It was way too easy for Ironman to get in on him in the third.
Willie's very critical of head hands recently.
Go watch the match. I mean, the first 2 periods, Carr was in on shot after shot after shot. And then I think he was like deer in the headlights in the third period. He's like, I don't know if he knew how to close it out. And Ironman, take a shot, get it. Take a shot, get it. And then rode him out to force overtime. I don't think there's anything wrong with Jaden. I don't think it means much of anything other than Jaden's Jaden.
Jaden's Jaden and Mike Carr's good. That's my takeaways from it.
We got a lot of opens. How many of them do we want to talk about?
Not many. I do want to mention Will Luan beats Alec Pantelio for the second time.
Yeah, again.
And I was like, as we were sitting, or I was just thinking about it, I was like, okay. I mean, to me, it just means Will Luan is legit as we thought he would be. He's a cadet world champion. And when Pantelio graduates, they're going to be set at 157. And then the Wrestling Nomad made a really good point this morning. They got my wheels a-turning.
I stole this from somebody who. So I put out this thing yesterday that was like a prelude to FRL questions, which is, what was the biggest question you had answered in week 1, and what is your biggest question heading into week 2? And somebody said, what did Pantaleo certify at? Can he drop to 49? And they have Will Luan go 57, because if you look at Michigan's lineup, nothing against Malik, but you would consider Pantaleo to be an upgrade over him, and then Luan would theoretically not be much of a drop off because he's beaten Pantaleo twice, and he beat a whole bunch of other guys. That was the finals match, right? So
how
that
about
could be an
Luan
interesting
goes
wrinkle.
Sudden victory over Zach Carson, sudden victory over Jake Tucker, sudden victory over Will Luan.
Oh my gosh.
Or over Pantaleo, sorry.
So heart attack kid there. I think that's interesting. I don't know if Michigan. Who does Michigan lose this year other than Alec?
That is a good question.
I think just
really
him.
Quickly, I will.
I mean, Acid maybe, but he's not even going to be in the lineup.
Malik.
They don't lose.
Well, Acid's still junior eligible.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Feels like he's been
He's
around
a
for
freshman.
They lose 49-57.
And
That's it.
but they don't lose Logan. They don't lose. So I don't know. I think you give it a shot. I mean, but at that point,
that's the case too. I mean, you have to look at the ability to score points as a team. Like, what's the benefit to pulling Paris?
Well, that's what I was gonna. That was the next thing. It's like, I think if you use Luan, you use Paris too, and then just go.
you pinned Matt Stencil in 14
I don't
seconds.
think- Yeah, I mean,
Look
I think
at
if
heavy-
you're gonna
look
put
at heavyweight,
Paris,
Willie.
you're gonna eat that. What?
Look at heavyweight, Willie. I mean,
No. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying if you drop Pantaleo to 49, then you pull Paris, right?
and Luan. Yeah.
But not just Luan over Pantaleo and then pull Paris.
Well, there's a couple
Oh,
questions
no.
though.
It would
Yeah,
have to be
yeah.
all three.
Yes.
The first question, did Pantaleo certify 149? Because if he didn't, then they can't do it. Second of all, we just spent 25 minutes talking about this 1.5% rule. He weighed in 56.9. So it literally wouldn't be able to happen until
It's going to be a while.
It'd be
second semester.
4 or 5 weeks. Yeah. But Alec has said he doesn't cut much weight, right? He's mentioned that before. It could be something where they hold him out. Consider it. I don't know. we'll see. But I'm fascinated to see what comes there.
That's a bad team, man. They're gonna be on the podium for a while, I think.
Well, I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I mean, they could. It's gonna be hard.
And then
It's hard.
It's hard.
it's hard. Madden beat Acid, so
Figure he's the guy.
yeah, couple things figured out, couple things still in question right now for Wolverines.
Okie doke.
No, I mean, you don't think so? I think they're gonna be on the podium for a while, man.
They got to be top 4. There's already 3. They're not beating Penn State, Iowa, or Oklahoma State. So there's room for 1. They're not guaranteed. Yeah, they're in the mix, but.
No, I don't necessarily mean this year.
Oh, okay. Well, you said for a while.
Well, I think if they hold back Luan and they hold back Paris, I think they could go on a run. We got Silva coming in. They got a ton of lightweights coming in.
Store. Yeah, they're gonna be nasty.
Real quick, speaking of lineup questions, Joe Smith didn't wrestle this weekend at the OCU Open, and Chandler Rogers weighed in at 65.8. So Rogers going to be 65, and Joe Smith, who knows?
They say
Anything
Joe's
over
first
57.
competition is gonna be like at 84.
Didn't Rogers wrestle 74 though?
Right, that's what I'm saying. He weighed in 65.8,
Okay.
wrestled 74. So clearly he's on that 1.5
Right,
and just was a
right.
little heavy.
Yeah.
Joe got cut.
You're leaving out the big thing there. Dayton wrestled 33.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that is big.
Yeah,
I guess
that's the news there, Nomad. And
What did he-
We had talked about. I feel like we had talked about it a lot, where we all thought he was going up.
What did he weigh? Oh, you can get all the weigh-in sheets. Oh, cool.
I'll look
Oh,
it
he's
up.
got it.
I'll look it up.
He's looking it up, guys.
Jeez.
33.0.
Thank
Alright.
God you gave us that Chandler Rogers update though.
Yeah.
Well,
No, that was notable. No.
that's notable.
It
He's
was
an two-time All-American.
Because if he
I'm-
wrestles at 74,
I understand that, but he completely buried the lead, which is Dayton fix.
I thought we had all accepted. He weighed 32.9. I thought we had all accepted that Dayton was going 33.
32.9. That doesn't sound like a guy that's he can't go.
You know what that tells me for next weekend?
Seth Gross Dayton fix.
And Ethan Lezak Dayton fix.
Oh my gosh, Dayton.
Ooh.
And back-to-back days.
Dayton, get some rest, buddy. Back-to-back days?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. This is the next
Oklahoma
week.
State goes to Brookings and then Minneapolis, or vice versa.
Let's
One of the-
fingers crossed on
No,
Gross.
no kidding though. I mean, imagine if Dayton was trying to make 25 and 26. I don't care who.
Don't do it, Dayton. Don't do it. Please don't.
Don't do it.
We love you. Don't do it, buddy. Okay. Questions from friends time, I do believe.
Friends.
Our friend Tommy Esperanza asks, did Dana White deliberately schedule Askren's first fight in January specifically to ruin our chance to see him wrestle the Heat at Midlands?
Yes.
No. Wait, do you think that ruins Midlands?
I don't know if it did,
Well, it
but
doesn't help.
I'm in on that conspiracy theory.
It's a month apart. I don't know. Ben probably will laugh at that. Like, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to stop him from it. The only thing that's going to stop him is they put it in the contract you cannot compete.
He did not do it deliberately, but it's a fun conspiracy theory.
He's like, yeah, I can see Dana. He's like, hey,
Let's
someone-
really screw Flo out of Midland.
when's the Kincraft Midlands? All right.
I don't know.
Let's throw Askren on that card.
He did not do it specifically for Midlands, but a lot of people aren't happy with the fight that he arranged.
Who was he fighting?
Robbie Lawler.
Fighting Robbie Lawler, who they say if Ben wins, it's going to be like, oh well, Robbie's old and he just is coming off injury.
Ben's old.
I don't think
I know,
he's as old
but
as Robbie.
that's not the point. They didn't sign Ben so they could say Ben's old,
Yeah.
right? I mean, sign Ben to make a point.
And Robbie's 36. Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll win that, and then he'll start eating his way up the chain. He's a top 5 guy because he's 5th, and there you go. We'll see what happens. Okay, so that's that question from that friend. Not a question, but just want to say Kyle Brackey is officially worse than co-worker food-eating wrestling nomad, Hook 'em Horns. So this is a Texas fan that's sad.
Hey, Jordan, why don't you go cry about it?
Bobby
Hey,
Shearer.
read the question from Bobby Shearer.
No, it was. I figured out it was a joke. He said, "Will Flo finally give Alex Smythe some love and rank him?" And I was like, Bobby's smart. I was like, this is interesting. I was like, hey man, why would we rank him? He's completely unrankable in every sense of the word. But it was because Stutzman. We talked about the chip. He's got a chip. And we love it. He's like, maybe he'll finally get ranked. He said that in the presser. I wasn't going to correct him because you correct John Stutzman. But I don't want to be like, actually, technically, coach, he's completely unrankable because, no, just let him go. Great win by Alex. But, yeah, he's not rankable. I can't rank him. But if he beats some ranked guys, then we rank him. But
Rank him.
Xander's not ranked. Okay, Julio has a 3-parter. And in the day and age of 480 characters in Twitter, that's a feat. But I'll just kind of give you the long and short. You keep saying it's in Dake's best interest to pull down to 74 to knock off Burroughs, so Burroughs isn't sitting in finals of the Olympic trials of 2020. Since Final X has been established, wouldn't it be better for Dake to wrestle 79 next year as reigning world champ? All he has to do in 2020 is win the Open, then he gets to sit in the finals of trials. Not if Burroughs medals this year at Worlds, he doesn't. And the only way you can stop Burroughs from medaling this year at Worlds is to hope someone else beats him at Worlds, which good luck with that, or you beat him yourself.
That's also not how they do the Olympic trials.
Open winners don't sit.
Well, remember the Open for Olympic trials was in the Olympic trials was the same times when the Open usually is. The Open in December,
Right.
in 2015, and it was similar in 2012. And somebody else also, I don't know if it was an FRL question or if it was just to me, but they kept saying, why do you keep saying Dake is going to wrestle Burroughs in the U.S. Open last year? He's not because Burroughs is
this
sitting
year,
in,
you mean?
Yeah, Burroughs
This
is sitting
year.
in Final X. I don't know why I kept saying the Open. It was supposed to be
Well,
Final X.
Well, because
People-
we kept saying like, hey, it was going to be like 2017.
Right.
But it's not.
I boofed that.
That's all right.
It's my bad,
I
guys.
kind of was going along with it too, not really
Yeah.
thinking because he placed. Were you gonna say something, Willie?
No, only that several. I heard Nomad make the mistake on the show before, but several people said we kept saying it. I don't recall us making that mistake more than once.
Yeah, maybe we did. Sorry, that was inaccurate by us. But yeah, Burroughs won't be wrestling at the U.S. Open unless he wants to. Jordan, open invitation, wrestle at the
Literally.
Open, but he's not going to.
Let's go, buddy.
Brian Walters, good to shake my hand at the Fieldhouse in Madison. Nice to meet you, and nice to meet you. Love the coverage you're giving Badger Wrestling. My question is, apparently Ben Askren going down, Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler's going down UFC. Over under a number of takedowns, Askren takedowns. I don't know, probably like 4 or 5. I think he's going to beat Robbie pretty soundly, if I had to say. But Brian, the only reason I asked this question, it's not really that great of a question, Brian, TBH. But he complained. He's like, you never ask my questions. Well, Brian, nice to meet you. Here's your question. But I don't know.
Also, if you go back to when Askren did the Hello from the Askren side, he called out Robbie.
Okay,
video.
good. Glad to see that call. Another question I don't want to ask, but I want to stop reading every Tuesday and Thursday till I die. Sam Herring, could I get y'all's thoughts on what adding middle school to Who's Number One would do? Have you ever given that any thought?
Sam, I
Oh.
love you. Love your passion and persistence, but no, we're not adding Who's Number One. I don't know why you're so passionate about adding middle school.
I think I know, Willie. I think
He's got it.
he Sam must coach or know or have some really good middle schooler he
Sam's
wants to.
kid
Or
must
be a
be
middle
absolute
schooler.
hammer.
He could be.
Well,
Oh, what if Sam's a middle schooler? His
Samwise 2006.
2006. It's Sam.
Oh, Sam's in
Sam's
PJ
9.
Dudley.
Dang it.
We just got by a 12-year-old.
No wonder he's so persistent. Pull
we're
up
not-
his bio,
we're not
Kyle.
adding- I don't know why. It changes everything. I thought this guy was like 36.
I did too.
Dang it, Sam, 2006.
That's what I thought. After like the second time, I was like, I think
I
this
never
guy
went and
wants to
looked at-
wrestle.
Oh my gosh, look at his background.
Yeah.
His background.
It's him. He's wrestling 55 pounds.
Daggone it. All right, Sam, you're the man.
What do they call that? Bantam.
Yeah,
I think we got to invite him, not to wrestle, but just to have him
I
there.
thought he was 36 because he's being like semi mean. Again, could I get your all's thoughts?
Yeah,
All right,
I
Sam.
like. Hey,
Sam, you're the man. Keep it up.
go check out his Twitter. His cover thing. His cover photo is it says FloWrestling Radio Live. So Sam Wise, 2006.
Yeah, Sam, you're awesome.
An up and
But no, we're
comer.
not adding-
Once you're a freshman, get to that top 2 spot.
Keep
and
grinding.
Keep
Yeah.
grinding. Big shout.
We're not flying kids in a middle school from California. It's not happening.
Okay. All right, and this is another question I don't really want to ask, but I think these are funny too, because people keep asking us questions like to give wrestling advice, as though we would be the source for that. As though
easy.
As though we ever even talk about, like, you know what, that they're not using the bar arms enough. But anyways, Digby asks, best moves in each position to teach brand new wrestlers in middle school.
Headlock, neutral. Next topic.
Well, no, you're right. I was gonna say, go watch the Tim Flynn headlock video.
Yep.
He shows a headlock from every single position, and that's what you should be doing.
In reality, what I'll do is answer how I think Mike Malenkonko would answer, and that would probably be chasing tail. Just getting really good at that. Snap down, circle, get the hamstring. He calls it chasing tail.
Now remember, chasing tail can be a double entendre. We're talking about
It
wrestling.
is a double entendre.
All right, well, that's what he calls it. If that's dirty, I'm sorry.
Tail.
I'm sorry to Sam Herring.
You don't understand that?
middle schooler list. Well, I get it.
I'm not saying Mike's using it as a double entendre. I'm just saying some people.
It'd be a real shame if people took it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, just move on.
Remember when you guys said the best thing for my middle schooler was to chase tail? He's a gigolo now.
All right, call it short offense, maybe. Short offense. Sorry to be offensive. Shut up, guys. Hey.
He's an extra on the deuce.
All right. Jake Intrater, fake name, I'm pretty sure. How can UWW fix these 1-1 shot clock matches where criteria goes a person to win on shot clock first? It's usually less aggressive wrestler. Happened to Burkett, happened to Molinaro, and World Team Trials. Frustrating to watch. I honestly, you know what, UWW? What else can you do?
Yeah.
They don't want to. They don't want to score points. What are you supposed to do? You know what?
Jake.
If you lose on criteria 1-1 in with a step out, with all the ways you can score in freestyle, you can't figure out one way to get a point on your own.
Disqualify them both.
It should be a double loss.
You're out of the tournament.
Thankfully, at least one person loses in this situation. I have no sympathy for anyone that loses 1-1. If the guy's stalling or whatever, he has 6 minutes to score. If you tried to game it by criteria, congrats. But you're not winning a world title that way, probably.
My thoughts exactly. And how many? You don't see these matches.
It's pretty rare. It's pretty dang rare. And I know when I'm watching those matches, I'm not like upset when the American is losing. I'm like, that's how it works. You don't score any points in 6 minutes of freestyle.
How about another passivity?
How about another passivity?
The point of the shot clock is very sound, which is every study you ever do is that the hardest point to score, like in terms of the flow of a match, the hardest point to score is the first point, and then once the first point is scored, scoring goes up, whatever, exponentially. So the earlier that a point can be scored, like obviously this makes sense, the earlier points can be scored, more points can be scored in a match, but the earlier a point can be scored, the better, because then guys can be like, okay, well now I have to open up, I have to score points because there's a point on the board.
Right. So yeah, UWW, you're off the hook here. It's on the athletes.
They're not just off the hook. The rules are great.
Yeah.
UWW can't wrestle the match for these guys.
Yeah.
Freestyle rule sets basically as good as it can be.
Yeah, it's good. If you want to pour into, okay, should the last point score? Yeah, sure. I don't know what makes the first point more valuable than the last point. Whatever. But that's the thing, and whatever. Ian, this is a big question. Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's true.
What? How do you know? Did you stop using it?
I stopped using it.
Well, no. He's not saying if you stop using it, if you don't use it at all.
Yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah. That's true.
I can't ride a bike anymore.
I screwed it up again.
All right, yeah. Let's
Yeah, that's why I never stopped using it. Okay. What are your thoughts on Brand? Yeah, I don't know. He said blast a lot. Hey, Tom was
The best was the fat cat.
the fat cat, hungry wolf, not a
Why?
fat cat.
I'll tell you what. I love it. It's pure gold. But they always talk about animals. all their rants have, like, Telford was talking about dogs. Or who talked about deer when the last breath?
That was
That
Gilman.
was Gilman. Telford was
Okay.
going to kick a dog.
He was gonna go bust the party up and kick a dog.
Yeah.
Tom in this one was not even close to being mean to animals. He just used them as a.
He was listening to Duran Duran on the way over to Media Day.
Yep, hungry like the wolf. So I don't know. Tom Brand's a pretty funny guy, actually. Okay. Any other big ones before we go? This is an easy one, I think. If you had to pick bottom against Lee, Lezak, or Rutherford, who would you pick? I'd pick Lezak.
Someone had an incredible response to that, and they said Lezak because they would gas him.
That's
From
right.
bottom.
That's exactly what I would do.
It was Brad Cravens. Put some respect on Brad Cravens.
I'm sorry, I couldn't remember who it was.
I'll tell you what.
I'm sure. Of course, you
Rutherford
noticed it
seems
was
the
Brad
most
Cravens.
painful, right?
Yeah, Zane would be the most painful, but bar arms are.
I don't know.
Spencer's
Spencer
bars.
rips some
Well, okay,
arms.
all right.
And
here's-
it's been mean since he was like 14.
All right, here's the thing.
A lot of people.
You're more likely to get injured against Spencer because bar, shoulder stuff.
There's a lot of people that get triggered by Spencer's bars. They don't.
Yeah.
Think
But,
they're,
I mean,
they don't think they're legal.
Spencer is like,
Wah.
No, I agree. I'm with you.
All right.
Wah, but
turn me. I'm turning. Count the back point.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go.
Zane is just like, he's probably forearm in the back of my head.
Yeah,
It's
my
like,
my
get
shoes are
off
touching my ear.
Touching, yeah.
I didn't know I could do that.
My
Thanks
heel's
for-
touching my earlobe, yeah.
I'm learning.
Spencer's bars remind me of Logan.
Yes.
And Logan, I remember one time on Twitter, like people were complaining about potentially dangerous being called when you're like running the bar.
Yeah.
And he's like, just go over.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're gonna get hurt, just go over.
Absolutely.
That is literally the point of the bar. Like that's like the point of every wrestling move. You go until there's a point where you give up, and you either get injured or you get pinned.
Well, not.
That's a lot of
So
them.
pick one.
That's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Go
I
over.
just wouldn't say every time. Not necessarily. So a tilt. You're not. It's like I'm either gonna get injured or. You're
All right, sure, maybe not tilt, but there's a lot of them that.
Did you ever find that guy you're gonna pin in a tilt?
No.
That was
Well,
that
he's
was quite
he's
the change.
anonymous on Twitter. Yeah. Well, you can talk about that another day. That was pretty funny though. It's almost time to go, so maybe we'll just go. Any other questions that are you're just? Oh, do you know where your polling place is and what documents you need to vote? Asks Matthew Klein.
I don't know
Spade's
if
in
I
line
can
to vote right now.
I says that I'm registered, but I have a Texas license. Am I going to be able to vote?
Spade's dealing with the same thing right now. Actually, he just put
They'll
that.
let anyone vote.
Spade
That's
said,
not true.
as we were about to start this show, Spade messaged us and it said, you guys wouldn't tell each other who we're voting for, because if they're opposite, I'll just leave this line. It's really long.
It's like an episode of Seinfeld where Elaine votes for the wrong guy.
He said the guy in front of him is in Pokemon pajama pants.
Oh my gosh.
Big Spencer fan.
Spencer, yeah.
Yeah.
Spencer's registered to vote in Texas apparently. What?
I was just gonna.
What now?
Well, we're 12 over, like Chenzo at the Scuffle, bringing that one back
Bringing
around.
that one back.
I was just gonna do the normal plugs.
All right, plug. It's Tuesday. We don't have to plug yet, but plug.
Yeah, we got a plug. Will, we got who's number one on the show tomorrow? We're doing Senior Big Board, right?
Yes, sir.
And then we got a whole slew of events this weekend, including the Frenzy at the Fieldhouse, continuing the alliteration that wrestling so dearly loves.
They love it.
That, and just so everyone knows, that's Iowa, Kent State, Wisconsin, CSUB. They all wrestle like 2 or 3 duels. Iowa and Wisconsin will not wrestle each other because they see each other later in the
Yeah.
Big Ten schedule.
February 17th in Madison.
Awesome to get to see Iowa first time out.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm writing an article. I think it's up now.
Yeah,
about
right.
who they're going to be sending out because they had wrestle-offs last weekend. So, a couple questions answered.
Thanks for your contributions. Thanks for the plugs. We are ready to go. Control room, command center, Delta Force. We are ready for the outro music. We are so thankful for so many things. And it is Thanksgiving season is coming up. So we're thankful for saunas. I'm thankful for them. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that wrestling is back. I'm thankful for Johnny Quickstall. I'm thankful for ASICS for sponsoring FloWrestling Radio Live so faithfully.
I'm thankful that I got to see my family this weekend.
I'm thankful for that too. I'm thankful for Wisconsin and letting me come up there and hang out. I'm thankful that I get to go to Michigan versus Lehigh in a couple weeks with Mike Malaconico. There's so much to be thankful.
I'm thankful Bracky got to see his home state win.
I'm also thankful for that because I might not have been here if they had not gotten that 2-point conversion.
Yeah, that would have been rough. If they had called the timeout and they'd not gotten it after
Oh
that.
my God.
That would have been, I don't even want to.
I probably would have found Tom Herman.
Let's
Oh,
win a
shit.
bleeping game.
Let's win the game. Hey,
That was
we
awesome.
should end every show with what we're thankful for, regardless of season.
Yeah.
That just feels
No.
great. You know what, Willie?
Are you even thankful for anything?
He
you
doesn't like Halloween.
Ungrateful SOB.
Yeah, what are you thankful for? Sadness?
I'm thankful for my fantasy. I'm thankful for my fantasy team of 7-2.
Wow, 7-2. You're a juggernaut. All right. Thanks for everything. We're out. See you next time.
Well, it's not that it's a bad idea. It's that the ending to that show took 7 minutes. Where's effort?